a big game with some major playoff implications.
Huge
against
game.
late. Packers at Vikings. Vikings 1.5 point favorite. 48.5 points is the over-under in this one. Big news for the Vikings defense. Ivan Pace Jr. is back at linebacker. That makes the Vikings one of, if not the healthiest team in the NFL going into the playoffs. Really, just Christian Darrisaw, your only starter that's currently not slated. Obviously, he's out for the year, but your only week one starter for the Vikings that's not in the lineup. So that is a team that getting back together at the right time, but do they have enough to survive the Green Bay Packers? Their playoff scenarios, they win this week, they win next week, they are the 1 seed.
Number 1 seed.
They lose this week, Lions win this week, they are officially a wild card team. The Lions clinch the division. So they basically need, but if they win this week and the Lions lose this week, it doesn't matter. They still got to win week 18 or tie. They tie week 18, then the Vikings are your 1 seed in the NFC. So a lot to happen, but it basically starts with they better win this game.
Yeah, I mean, love the performance going to Seattle last week. Love what I saw from Sam Darnold. And we've been talking about this all year long, guys. People have been waiting for that other shoe to drop with Sam, and it just hasn't, right? I mean, that big-time throw, and again, me and Mike talked about this after the 4 p.m. window last week. He literally got sandwiched in the pocket, and I thought, like, that's a high ankle, that's a knee. I'm like, there's no way he's getting up and playing the next snap. And on the very next play, to have the gutsiness to step up in the pocket, they essentially run up in the pocket and throw an absolute laser beam off of one leg to Justin Jefferson in the whole shot in zone coverage. I mean, he's really elevated his game. His confidence has gone to the next level. Me and Mike talked about this. It seemed like when he was going through that lull earlier in the season, right, he was trying to force feed the ball to Justin Jefferson, and teams knew it, and they were able to turn him over. And I think he had a conversation, I believe, again, I don't know for a fact, that he had to have had a sit down with Kevin O'Connell. And Kevin O'Connell says, you know what, I got to do a better job in helping you out. We have Jordan Addison. TJ Hawkinson's coming back. These guys are former first-round picks for a reason. Let's get them the ball and sometimes use Justin Jefferson as a decoy while still making sure he gets his targets, right? He just isn't going to get as many targets, but I think it'll benefit you in this offense, and it has, right? And Sam Darnold has confidence in all his pass catchers now. It seems like if Jordan Addison scores first for the Minnesota Vikings, they're not going to lose the game. Because it seems like every game he scored first for their offense, they don't lose, right? Like even going back to last week, the week before that, they get Jordan Addison going early. That way it sets up for Justin Jefferson later in the game. And obviously when things are hairy and you need a big play, just like the play we talked about versus Seattle, where he maneuvers in the pocket, runs up, he's going to Justin Jefferson because he is one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league. So this is a big game because Green Bay also is coming off a couple of games where they've looked really good. Like when you look at their 4 losses, it's against the best teams in the NFL, right? Like they literally are a couple possessions. Besides the Lions game, I think that was the only game that got away from them in Green Bay. All the rest of those games came down to the wire. Right, so this will be an interesting game because essentially the Packers can't get the number 1 seed. They can't win the division. So what's their mentality? They're going to be either stuck in that 5 or 6 seed, right? Is it that we don't want the Minnesota Vikings to be the number 1 seed, or we want the Detroit Lions to be the number 1 seed? Like it'll be interesting to see what Matt LaFleur's mindset and the Green Bay Packers mindset is going into this game.
So when you were talking just now about Jefferson, O'Connell, Addison, Hawkinson, I think it's important to point out as a Bears fan, I saw this happen. I saw a game where the priority was we're not going to let Justin Jefferson beat us. And in that game in mid to late November, it was 2 receptions for 27 yards for Justin Jefferson. But you go up in the stat column, the next guy, TJ Hawkinson, 7 receptions, $114, 16.5 per. Jordan Addison, 8 receptions, 162, 20.2 per. They have guys who can not only be helpful in the offense, but they can be lethal against the defense. And you have them in different areas of the field. You have 3 lanes with right, left, and center that you can attack, and Sam Darnold's confidence has grown. I think that's going to be a big part of this game. But the Green Bay Packers, they were lethal last year in the playoffs and rolling into the playoffs. And then they added one of the best running backs in football in Josh Allen. And we talk about Derrick Henry. We talk about all these Saquon Barkley. This guy is in that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't care what your opinion is. He is an ass kicker. They can hand him the football, and they have two identities on the offensive side of the ball. It's spread out all our young receivers and have Jordan Love just go out there and play 7-on-7, or we can challenge the toughness of your front. Pete Prisco's has said it all year. The blitzes are great. They're exotic. Brian Flores has done a really great job getting the offensive line confused with the opposing teams. But I, as an offensive lineman, know that if you want to run all that cute shit, I'm going to put my hand in the dirt. You're going to see the whites of my knuckles, and I'm going to roll off the ball, and I'm going to see how tough your group is. I fully anticipate the Green Bay Packers to try to suck the life out of that Minnesota Vikings defense with their ground game.
They're going to try, but not a lot of people could take advantage of this Vikings.
That's the plan, though, Mike. That's the plan. In that meeting room on Saturday night in the hotel, Matt LaFleur will be up there with the laser pointer on the whiteboard, on the projector. He'll pause the film. Lige, you've been in these meetings. He's going to turn
100%.
around. He's going to say, hey, O-line, tomorrow, you know what the deal is. I don't even have to
It's
say
on you
it,
guys.
do I? Yeah, this
on
one's
you
on
guys.
you guys.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Vikings this year, second best run defense in terms of EPA per play against. I just go to the motivations in this one. For the Green Bay Packers, you said it, they're either the 6 or the 5. You win, cool. You can usurp the Vikings as the 5 seed. And that's, that's not nothing. But are you going to, dial up the full playbook, really show your full hand heading into the playoffs to do so? Whereas for the Vikings, you're going to pull out all the stops. If it means the 1 seed, if it means home field advantage throughout and a bye, you are going to do things that maybe you would keep for a rainy day, sort of otherwise. Your hand. So you're going to want to roll out everything possible. So in that perspective, I just think the motivations are such that I'm leading the Vikings way when I do think they're fairly evenly matched teams. And it's in Minnesota. So all those being said, give me the Vikings in this one.
I like the Packers. Let the record state.
He likes the Packers.
I like the Packers. Don't kill me, but I like the Packers in this one.
Leger, did you meet yourself?
I don't know how that happened. To Kyle's point, like, I love the physicality of that Packers O-line and Josh Jacobs. I think that was one of the most underrated signings that nobody talked about because, Mike, this is a Packers guy. They're usually built through the draft, and they're kind of fickle in how they do free agency. So that Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs signing was major for a Green Bay Packers team who routinely doesn't do that. I mean, I think Josh Jacobs was the 3rd highest paid running back during that cycle, and Xavier McKinney, if I'm not mistaken, was the highest paid safety, which the Packers never do, right? And both of them have played at an all-pro level this year. You talked about it, right? The Vikings don't give it up in the run game. Well, the Seattle Seahawks over that, before they played the Packers, they had been stymieing the run game. But the Green Bay Packers punched them in the mouth. They literally moved them off the line of scrimmage. So to Kyle's point, I could see Green Bay trying to make this a phone booth game. And that's the thing. And I think Jordan Love has realized this over the last few weeks that I don't have to go out there and be Superman. Like, we got a straight dog in the backfield that we can lean on. And when I need to make plays, to Kyle's point, we can spread it out, and I have the young receivers to do that. But I think earlier in the year, he was pressing because of the contract, because of how well he played down the stretch last year, where these last couple of weeks, he hasn't had gaudy numbers, but he's been efficient with the football, and that's been the key to success. And also, got to give some love to the Green Bay Packers defense. I think Jeff Hafley and his defense, it was an acclimation period. They're starting to come along these last couple of weeks, get after the passer as well.